that's good then. Yeah.
All there is about it. You must have done some research yourself.
You're right. Yes. Yep.
I've done a lot of research on it.
Me. Yep. 100%.
Can't talk about that tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably. But we're on the same page there for sure.
I think a lot of people think a lot of people drank the Kool-Aid on that one. A lot of people.
My wife.
Hey, I know it. Hey, can you remember to send me the text of the guy that manages the, or I should talk to at Starlight?
Yes.
Because I forgot to do that last night.
Should we hug?
Yep.
Did you hear about Japan? They did research on women who got the shot in Japan. Have you heard about
No.
the first? Well, I can tell you.
I don't know. It's going to break your camera.
80% of women have missed.
I'm Brooke.
Have miscarriages.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
Really.
80% first and second trimester. Then they found out that.
Which is unusual. Usually we're in one
I know.
row of tables.
60-some percent.
It's high too. I'm very short.
System.
So we're from the land of the little people, I always say.
Yeah, me
She's
too.
a doctor scientist. She's from Idaho. They've been doing preliminary studies on that, and they said that they find out the shot stops
A little more turnover.
I would. It'd be nice if you did.
chronic form of baby.
There was, usually there's maybe 30 or 40 people. But
Really?
yeah, but tonight. First time I gotta go say hello, Dean.
Goobles. No, that's all right. No,
Is
that's
it
all right.
Gobbles?
No, it's
How about Gobbles? Shouldn't have said that. I was
That's
going to say
all right.
that.
Yeah, that's-
Not too many people here.
That bigger one from the past.
Oh, thank you.
In the past, it'd just be full.
That'll help, yeah.
I was told there won't be that many people here. I don't know if they're afraid of COVID. I don't know what they're afraid of.
Well, you see the football stadiums are all packed. You know, like the chant they're going on, bro, Brandon.
Did you hear that England's like 89% vaccinated, you know, and the COVID's just going out of sight there? And I know why, but you can't tell people that.
No.
They've got to do the research.
Hope these things work. Not a lot of times these things didn't work.
Yep, that's me.
I never bring any notes. Well, I got a little bit here, but I never bring any notes. It's all up here.
Yeah, I'm going.
I just go.
You know.
That's what I do.
Do you think the mayor would be here? You
I
think,
know. Yeah.
My wife's supposed to be here. She's not here yet.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Kirsten with Iowa Central. I'd like to welcome you to the City Council Forum here at the college. And we're very pleased we have some candidates here to discuss the issues facing our community. We're proud to co-host this with the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance. We really want to thank Jill Nelson for helping organize this tonight. What the rules are is we have the candidates up here. They're going to be allowed to give 2-minute opening remarks, and then we'll rotate with questions, and they'll have up to 2 minutes to answer those questions. For those watching on the internet, you can email Jill Nelson here at the college. I'll give you her email address here in a second, and she'll write down the questions and then submit them to me. So send questions to Jill at greaterfortdodge.com. Jill at greaterfortdodge.com, and I'll try to remember to say that a few more times. So we have one candidate who's unopposed who's going to come up and make some brief remarks just to introduce himself. So I invite Cam Nelson to come up.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'd like to thank the Growth Alliance and Iowa Central for hosting the forum. As Jim said, I'm Cameron Nelson. I'm running for Ward 2 City Council. I am running unopposed, but would still love Ward 2's vote. I am born and raised in Fort Dodge. I've lived in Ward 2 for the past 7 years. Some things about me that I'm currently involved in the community. I'm a part of the Pleasant Valley Awareness Committee, Vice President of the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation Board, past President of Fort Dodge Noon Rotary, current board member of Fort Dodge Noon Rotary, Webster County Crime Stoppers Board of Directors, and Leadership Fort Dodge Steering Committee. A couple things that I'd like to see accomplished in the city are just to keep the progress moving forward that I feel Fort Dodge has already accomplished recently with the current council. I'd love to see the mall project finished, being as it is in Ward 2. I believe that's something that the community would like to see finished, so I'd love to see that moving forward. And then public safety, of course, a big concern of mine. My father is a retired captain of the Fort Dodge Police Department, so law enforcement is something I hold near and dear to my heart. So public safety is something that I do look forward to working with. If anybody has any questions for me or what I'm about, you can reach out to me on my Facebook page, which is Cameron Nelson for City Council Ward 2, or email me at camforfd@gmail.com. I hope to get all of Ward 2's votes come November 2nd. Thank you all so much.
Well, thank you, Cam. And now I'd like to introduce the candidates we have up here on the stage. We have Brooke Bickford, Richard Higgins, Quinnell McCaleb, Lydia Schur, Kim Alstott, and Greg Goebbels. So with that, I think we'll just start down the line. We'll let you open up, maybe Greg, and come back this way. And I'll try to remember how we do the order with questions in the future. So good luck.
Well, my name's Greg Goebbels. I was born and raised in Pisgah, Iowa until I was 18. I moved up to Fort Dodge in 2008 when I bought my first house by the stadium on 10th Avenue North. Since coming to Fort Dodge, I've worked at the post office for the last 13 years. I've seen a lot of growth here in Fort Dodge since I've been a part of the community in 2008 when I bought my first house. I'm looking forward to keeping Fort Dodge moving forward, fixing the streets. Other than that, I'm glad to be a member of Fort Dodge community, and I like to keep it moving forward and doing what I can, and that's about it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Kim?
Okay, I'm Kim Alstott. I was born and raised in Fort Dodge. Went to high school here. I was part owner of two manufacturing companies, and in 1990, I sold them out. I went overseas for 18 years, came back in 2007, and since then I've always been here. And I tell you what, when you go overseas, it's amazing. And I've traveled a lot in the United States, and I love Iowa, and I love Fort Dodge. You just can't get a better place to live. Anyway, I have 3 children. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter. I have 5 grandkids. Currently, I'm on Crime Stoppers Board, Heart of Iowa, which is housing development for the people who need help. I'm on the Salvation Army Board and chairman of that. I'm on a committee for Main Street. I've been with PICA, Pride and Community Parents. I've been with them for 10 years. And I know there's more and I can't think. But anyway, yeah, I'm running for city council because I really love our city, and I think I've seen the growth that we've had. I like the unity that we have with the county supervisors and with the Growth Alliance, and we all work well together. And that's huge for the state of Iowa. They say that's really unusual to see us working together so well, and you can see the results of that. And okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Lydia?
Hi, I'm Lydia Shore. I am currently on council and running for re-election. Thanks, Kim. I am also from this community. I work at the Growth Alliance in Communications. I am married with 3 children. I currently serve on the U Shelter Care, YWCA, and Jean Giraffe boards. And I am hoping to remain on council to continue the projects we are working on. We have a lot of growth in this community, and I really want to see our town be a place that attracts new people, but also we are able to retain our current population, and our children who are growing up will want to live here because the quality of life is such that they see value in that.
Thank you. Quinnell?
Hi, my name is Quinnell McCaleb. Lived in Fort Dodge my entire life. Went to Fort Dodge Senior High, graduated in '99. Played all the sports, state champion. Got married with 2 kids. I am a football coach, 7th grade football coach. I'm an 8th grade basketball coach. I am the head varsity coach at the Fort Dodge Senior High, where I work. I'm a student support services transition specialist with Fort Dodge Senior High and middle school. I am part of the Human Rights Board. I also started the Dodger Experience, where I work with young youth, getting them introduced to Dodger sports, Dodger clubs, and Dodger activities. I also started a Fort Dodge basketball program called Fury Basketball. We started with just a 7th and 8th grade team, and we are now at 3rd grade through 8th grade. I look forward to working with Fort Dodge, doing everything I can for Fort Dodge. I had many opportunities to leave Fort Dodge, and everything that happened with me has kept me in Fort Dodge, and it's happened for a reason. So I am truly blessed to be a part of this panel, and look forward to speaking to all of you.
Thank you very much. Richard?
Good evening. I'm Richard Higgins. First of all, I'd like to thank the Great Growth Alliance for holding this forum. I would also like to thank our police officers and firefighters for their service to our community. I'm seeking the office of Council at Large because I want to serve our community by representing the citizens of Fort Dodge in decisions making to move our city forward. If elected, I want to represent the people by listening to people's concerns. I've enjoyed attending most of the city council meetings since 2007 when I moved back to Fort Dodge. Now, I've even watched some of the Zoom meetings. In fact, I'm very interested in city government where I lived in McHenry, Illinois, suburb of Chicago, and Edmond, Oklahoma, but didn't seek office because my job took me out of state too much. I've learned a lot about Fort Dodge city government by attending council meetings. I feel I will be an asset to the city council. I'm looking forward to answering your questions to the best of my ability, and hope by answering your question, you will realize I'm a good candidate for Fort Dodge City Council at Large. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Brooke?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke Bickford, and I'm the owner of Bickford Realty. And better than that, I'm the proud mother of Meadow and Tate. Tate's in the audience right now. And they are both students at Fort Dodge Senior High School, where I graduated in 1994. I'm a little different because I did move away. I did move away after high school, and I went to the University of Iowa, where I got my bachelor's degree in journalism and mass communication. And I lived there for about 10 years, where I worked in news. And it was when I had my daughter in 2004 that I decided it was time to move back, be close to family, and it has been the best experience coming back to town, because from the moment I got back here, I saw a way different place than when I left. When I left, I was about 19 years old, and Fort Dodge was not the town it currently is. Fort Dodge has progressed a lot. So from the moment I got back to town, I feel like Fort Dodge was the gas to my flame. Anything I've ever wanted to accomplish in business, I've done right here. It's an amazing place, not just in real estate or rental properties, but a friend of mine wanted to build a gym, and we built one. I wanted to own a bar, and after a couple of weeks of being very unsuccessful, I owned that for about 7 years, and Buck's Fireside is still kicking. I chose to run for city council because I feel the excitement of this growing city, and I feel I can be a huge asset. I have a go-go attitude. I feel like I understand city laws, and I chose at large because talking to people from every neighborhood is important to me. I want to listen and understand where people want to see the change, and I can also guarantee that I will listen and I can compromise. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg? Did you, I thought we started with Kim, didn't we? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, Kim, I'll start with you this time. The city is receiving over $3 million in American Rescue Plan funding. What are your recommendations for the use of this money?
That's a very good question. We have so many projects we need to get done in this city. I know that we have last time I heard, we have like $100 million worth of road work we have to do, and that just barely touches that. But anyway, we need abandoned houses that need to be taken down. We need that to happen. Right now we have on on North 8th Street, we have the Lincoln neighborhood. We're trying to revitalize that and make that into a new neighborhood. Then, the money could be used there. And we could use maybe the money more for maybe out in the mall to help that project go along. But there's so many things we can do with that money, but we have to prioritize. We have to see what is more important than anything else. And so that's how I look at it.
Thank you. Lydia, what are your thoughts with the $3 million?
Through the capital improvement planning that we've done, we've identified like top priorities like for the road and some infrastructure work, so I would support it going towards that. And if it could help with some abandoned houses, I think that would be great too.
Thank you. Quinnell.
I would use that money towards, like they said, helping out, getting the mall project done, making sure that was done. I'd use some of the money towards helping get the Warden Plaza tore down, take care of that. I would use the money for making Fort Dodge more pleasant on the eyes, getting rid of all the buildings that are tore up, not taken care of, get some new ones put in, maybe some low-income housing or something. And then after that, I'd, again, listen to the people and see what they wanted done with it. Because that's what we're doing. We're doing this for the people. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Richard, what would you do with $3 million?
I'm not familiar of the $3 million, but what I'd like to see is, we all hear about people complaining about our streets. I think for once, if we have money, let's fix these streets. I think a lot of us are tired of going down these streets, going bump. So let's maybe take some of this money and, get some of these streets and make our people, citizens of Fort Dodge, happy that at least the city is doing something with some of this money. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke.
I would say that finishing up projects that are already existing, the Lincoln project, I think was a great idea, and it should be finished up, and some things should be built in that area. Also, when it comes to the roads, I think we need to shift back from doing all the commercial projects that we have been doing to doing a lot more in residential areas, because that's where a lot of the problems are. So, and really listening to the public and listening to the current counselors, I'd like to know a little bit more about where their priorities stand and would like to determine from that point what else needs to be done.
Thank you. Greg?
I would say definitely streets. We need to work on the streets. I see the streets are getting fixed right now. There's quite a few roads that are being fixed and rebuilt. Also, I think abandoned houses, we need to take care of that too with that $3 million. And other than that, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that it could go towards, but $3 million nowadays doesn't go very far.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lydia, here's the next question. It's kind of tied into this general funding issue. Some neighborhoods around schools do not have sidewalks, and some sidewalks have deteriorated to the point of being hazardous. Do you favor a sidewalk assistance program to repair or replace sidewalks?
I had never thought of that, but that's not a bad idea. If there's a way we could do that, that'd be great, actually. Yeah.
Okay, Cornell?
I favor it because we have people in the community that might need them sidewalks because they had a knee surgery or to walk their dog, and walking on uneven surfaces, they might fall and get injured. So I would be totally in favor with that, to make sure that the kids had somewhere, especially the little kids, had to walk to school, that they didn't arrive at school with cold feet, and making sure that the kids are taken care of also. So I think I would be in favor with that.
Thank you. Richard?
I'm also in favor of getting the streets fixed too also. Thank you.
I think with the sidewalks, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, because people that own their homes are supposed to keep their sidewalks up. So I think case by case, you have to look at whether the person is unable to afford the kind of repairs that are needed or not. So very much a case-by-case basis on sidewalk repairs.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
I agree they need to be fixed and maintained, but like Brooks said, case by case. A lot of people can't afford $2,000-$3,000 to patch up a sidewalk or replace it. And then also, I know firsthand when driving by where the school is, there are several blocks that don't have sidewalks, so the kids are forced to walk out on the street. And I don't think those residents that live in those neighborhoods should be forced to put sidewalks in. But if there's a way that Fort Dodge could somehow come up with some grants or something to help that the people that do want to put them in, I think that should be what's done.
Okay, thank you. Kim?
Well, I'd be in favor of that too, but I would say, again, it would be case by case, because I was thinking about that when you first asked that question. There's some people who can't afford it, and the city, we need funds for a lot of different projects. So if there's a couple own their house and they can afford to put that sidewalk in, that'd be great. And if they can't, then I think the city should be there to help.
Okay.
So yes, I would be in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. TIF has been used in several projects in the community. Are you in favor of utilizing TIF for future projects? We'll start with you, Cornell.
Knew it was going to happen. You asked a question.
Want me to repeat it?
No, I tried everything possible. I've looked up, I have the agendas, I've looked up acronyms, I've looked up everything possible there is about city council. I've crammed my brain. I probably have city council stuff oozing onto my ears right now.
Okay.
I can't answer that question.
Well, I should have spelled it out. It's tax increment financing, but it's short for TIF, so I'm sorry I use the acronym, so sorry about that. Richard?
The TIF money is so hard to understand. I've had many of the council members, the mayor, everybody try to explain to me what TIF money is for. I know TIF money they use for major projects like I believe the riverfront thing is going to be used with TIF money. I'm not quite sure if that's part of that one, but using TIF money is a good process. One thing, it keeps us taxpayers from having to paying some of the money, and some of these for some of these projects that are going on that sometimes the taxpayers end up paying on it. So yes, I'm in favor of using TIF money.
Thank you. Brooke?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure.
Sorry.
That's right. Tax increment financing, or TIF, has been used in several projects in the community. Are you in favor of utilizing TIF for future projects?
I'm in favor of using TIF when it comes to anything that is going to increase business in Fort Dodge. As a business owner, and as somebody who's owned buildings downtown, I've paid TIF, so I do know what it means. And I do think that it needs to be utilized maybe more for some of the projects that garner more business to town. I think if it's being used for the right things, then yes. I know that that might be used for helping bring down the warden or doing something with the warden, and I would approve of that. I think that would help downtown, so yes.
Thank you. Greg?
I agree, TIF money. There's I believe a spot on Ward 4 that TIF money's been used. I believe it was for Dr. Clay's office, the dentist office up there on North 15th Street. And there's a little section right off to the side that I believe is still can be possibly funded with TIF. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe like a fast food joint up there for our part of town, like a not a Wendy's, but like a Dairy Queen or something like that. And I believe TIF money could be used for something like that in my ward.
Thank you. Kim?
Well, the people who know me, I'm all for manufacturing. We need manufacturing. And if you want to have a strong middle class, we need more manufacturing in this town. And one of the things when I first got on the council, I was telling the Growth Alliance is one of the things we really need is housing. And housing was really important to me because you can't get manufacturers that come into this town if you don't have adequate housing. And so I pushed for that. Other people in the council also agreed. And it took a number of years. You know how process goes with anything with the government, is this goes really slow, and Terry knows that. And but anyway, I remember I was talking to Plotz about this, and he said in 2017 we had 5 new housing starts, and from 18, 19, and 20, we have now 277 new houses or rentals. Really, really nice. So that helps bring in, and when they see that, also the TIF, what that did also when we had the Wims Bend, that we had to use TIF to bring in to build new houses because they were down in Ankeny. You know, they said, we built a house in Ankeny, it sold right away. So what have you guys been doing in Fort Dodge? The last time we had a big housing project was I think it was in 1981, and that was on 20th Avenue North. So we had to use TIF for that, and that was a great project that helped bring in builders to come in and build new houses. You see they're being sold. Also, what that TIF did with housing, that 40% of that had to go for low and medium income housing, so that's where we help people fix their roofs, fix other things that help the neighborhoods to build their houses up. It was a great project, and I just love TIF. It really works well for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Lydia?
So Kim actually made some points I was going to make, so that's great. No, that's awesome. But usually TIF is used for projects that generally wouldn't happen if TIF wasn't there. And used responsibly, I feel like it's a really great economic tool for us. So yes, I would support using it for many of the reasons Kim mentioned, because if we want to have jobs, we need housing, and there's so many pieces, and TIF can help us put that puzzle together.
Thank you very much. Richard, this next question starts with you, and it kind of follows what you just talked about here. There is a shortage of affordable housing and childcare in our community. What action plan do you have to address these issues, housing and affordable housing and childcare?
Well, aren't we building a new child care center out there by the aquatic center?
Yep.
I think that will help eliminate some of the issues that I think will cause some of that problems there. And I think with the housing, what's going on now, what's being built now and everything like that, I think that's going to help our housing industry also with the low housing, low rent, or whatever.
Thank you. Brooke, this is probably up your alley here, so.
Yes. Well, I agree with Richard on they are developing the child care center, and I think that is well overdue, and I'm so glad that they got that deal put together because you need to have quality child care in order to have people go to work and feel comfortable going to work. So when it comes to affordable housing, there are some things that I have been interested in doing myself personally, but I know that the city has been working really well at putting together some plans and helping to make sure that builders can come to town and like the District 29 project is a good project, and it does give people a chance to, educated people, business people, professionals can come to town before they know where they want to live or maybe buy a house, and they can take a look at some of the rental housing that way before they decide exactly where they're going to stay. So,
Thank you. Greg?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Yes. Sorry, I put it back down again. I'll quit doing that. There is a shortage of affordable housing and childcare in our community. What action plan do you have to address these issues? Affordable housing and childcare.
Well, the child care, I believe the city's helping with that new child care out there by the aquatic center. I believe the city did something with that, with helping them with something, with the taxes or something like that. And then affordable housing, not quite sure what I could do there. I know we have quite a few houses being built now in the Williams Drive area, and I don't think those are really affordable for most families. A $250,000, $300,000 house, to me, that's not really affordable. I would say probably if we could do something with, you know, a slab house, three bedrooms, one car garage for around 100 and some thousand. I'm not a builder, so I don't know what the prices would be on that. But I think another thing is there are quite a few rental properties here in town, and it seems like a lot of the landlords snatch them up before most average people can, because if you see a house for $50,000 and you're an investor, as myself, I'm going to snatch it up before somebody that might only have $50,000 be able to grab, you know, to be able to purchase it. So I think something like that, maybe if the city, I don't think the city could do anything like that with making, you know, if a house comes up for sale, the first 30 days a resident gets the first dibs on it, other than an investor.
Okay.
Yes, I've looked into that, and it kind of really makes me sad, because I know when I grew up, when you wanted to buy your first house, you bought an older house and you fixed it up. And then you go on to another house and you fix that up. And that way, you can have affordable housing that way, but now this new generation, they don't want to do that. They just want to come in, move in, and you know, they want the carpet just right, they want the paint just right, and they don't want to do anything. And I think that's one of the problems we have. That's something we have to look at. I know that. But I would tell you with daycare, that's one thing when the manufacturers come into Fort Dodge, they look at that. And they said, how much daycare do you have? We don't have enough. And we need to do more. And so I know we're starting to look into that, start putting some more in, because we need more daycare, because if we don't have enough, then you're not going to get manufacturers coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Lydia.
Yeah, so on the child care side, while that new child care is being built over by the pool, it's actually not going to add anymore. It's basically just everybody's moving. It is going to add, there's a handful of other spots, but it's not going to put even a dent in what we need. But I would love to see us be able to have incentives for daycare spots to open up. It's hard for people to make money with that. Like, there's no cash flow really, so it's kind of your business plan. It's a difficult business plan to put together and then be profitable. But I would 100% love to see us help provide an opportunity to have more spaces, because we desperately need them. And then housing, I feel like we have a lot of discussions just with potential developers who want to come here and build, and it all just takes a long time. I mean, the discussions and whatnot. So it is being worked on and evaluated. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen as quickly as people would like it to.
Okay. Thank you. Cornell?
The housing part, how I would address that is, again, with the money that we get in, that you talked about earlier, the $3 million, tearing down some houses, putting down some slabs, some already pre-finished land, put in all the plumbing where they can bring in prefabricated houses that are a lot less than what people come in and build. That way we make it affordable to everyone. Someone touched on the houses that are being built now are $200,000, $300,000. People coming from single-family homes don't have that type of money to pay for a $200,000 home. And for bringing in the prefabbed houses, I think that would be more of a way for people to afford houses. Also, we could probably build some low-income apartments in areas where people could, if their credit's not where it needs to be and they need to take some classes to learn how to get their credit where it needs to be, pay their bills or whatnot, they could go into a low-income apartment type situation, take some classes, learn how to get their credit score up and better themselves. So then from a low-income house, they then can buy their first house. I think that would be something that Fort Dodge could offer on our end. As far as child care, just like Lydia said, all that is moving everybody from one location to another. We need more. If we're offering all these big plants and all these jobs, we need more, and we have to find a way to make people want to be daycare providers, show them that, again, I speak for the kids, that we want somewhere for our kids to go that are safe, that it is good, and giving them incentive to be good, I think it'd be a great idea for Fort Dodge to help with child care.
Okay, thank you. Richard? Not on that one. Affordable housing and childcare?
Yes, I answered that one.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
started
I
that
mistake that. Okay, everyone wants economic growth. Can you say specifically what you would do to stimulate growth?
There's an idea I have for downtown to stimulate growth. So there's some exciting things that go on downtown, like the farmers market and the downtown country jam and things like that. And I know that the parking meters were pretty essential with creating some kind of funding to keep up the downtown area. And I thought, from living in bigger cities, I thought that maybe we could work on a way to bring something together where there's more of that activity downtown, maybe a Friday night concert series, something that brings in businesses that can go downtown, and also, to your Wicker Jewelries or your Daniel Pharmacies, get a little bit more income going at night. Offering tax abatements to places like a Buffalo Wild Wings like we did. I think that was a very good idea to do, and I think that we should also think about any other places like that could be the start of businesses like that coming to town. Give them 5 years, give them 10 years, just so we can kind of spur more of the growth.
Thank you. Greg?
What was the question again?
Everyone wants economic growth. Can you say specifically what you would do to stimulate growth?
Not 100%, but one thing I'd like to see would be a Costco or a Sam's Club brought here to town. I think that would help bring a little growth to Fort Dodge. A lot of times when me and the wife leave town, is usually to go to Costco or Sam's Club. And if we had something like that here in town, I think a lot of people would stay here in Fort Dodge instead of venturing down to Des Moines or Ames to spend their money.
Thank you.
As you look into it, as you know, I'm all for manufacturing coming in Fort Dodge. I want to see a strong middle class grow in this city. It brings in more people. People have better jobs. They can afford better homes. One of the things that I just go in, that there's so much involved with this. I remember I had a friend out at Coke plant, and he was telling me they could not bring in engineers into this town. He said they tried and tried. He said there was nothing to do. And as a result of that, when I got on the council, they started putting bike trails in. You cannot believe what difference that made. I remember going to a meeting at Friskies, and I asked that question. I said, how easy is it now to bring in people since we're starting these amenities? And he said, it's much easier now to bring in people into Fort Dodge. So we need to do in the water trails. I was given a tour of one of the people who wanted to go come into Fort Dodge with Cargill, and they show them like Soldier Creek, Lizard Creek, I should say, with a water trail. And they said, "Oh my goodness, we love kayaking," and that was one of the big difference. And of course, you see a lot more people with kayaks now. that made a big difference. So any little thing we can do, that helps bring in. But also, with the broadband, for example, we need a broadband. If you want manufacturing, you want companies to come into this town, we need a good broadband. And that's why as city council, that's why we're doing that. So you have that, you have the housing, you have amenities for people, things to do. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a Fort Dodge. And I will say that I had a class reunion, and people in the class reunions just could not believe how nice Fort Dodge looks now, and they can see a big difference. And also the head of Purina came into Fort Dodge. He said, I could live here.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Lydia?
Yeah, so it takes a lot of different pieces put together to have that growth. So kind of like what's been mentioned, I would utilize Tiff, tax abatement. The mall, or the Crossroads Plaza, is a great example of us moving towards growth. That will bring in retail. It'll bring in people shopping from different communities, and we have amenities like trails. So when people are looking at moving here, they can see what we are working towards, what we already have, and hopefully the vision for what it will be. And then it seems that once people move here, they just kind of really enjoy it and they end up sticking around, which is great. But we need all those other pieces in order to make them stay. And we'll come here in the first place and then stay.
Thank you.
Growth in Fort Dodge. We've grown so much over the last 10 years, 15 years. The jobs are here. The people are here. I think that working with law enforcement to lower the crime rate, maybe get in a car, ride around with them, see what's going on, see what a day is like with them, so that we can see if another officer is needed and paid for by us. The rec center, I am huge on, because when you go to the bigger cities, Waukees, Ankenes, Southeast Polks, they have a nice up-to-date rec center where people like to go to work out, kids go and play, have fun, somewhere they're safe, you're not worried about them. The rec center we have is outdated. It's a great place, but I think we need to catch up with the surrounding communities with the rec center part, because also it can be used at the high school and other places, so we could hold indoor meets for kids. We could bring revenue in with basketball tournaments, soccer tournaments, softball tournaments, work with other facilities that are already hosting tournaments so we can make bigger tournaments. That's revenue for Fort Dodge. I would almost, I'm gonna take some air out of the room with this one. I'd push for another Taco Tico, because everyone that leaves Fort Dodge comes back for Taco Tico, so.
Thank you. Richard?
I think by attending the council meetings that I have had in the past years, I think the Webster County supervisors and I think our city council has really done a great job of bringing economy to Fort Dodge by offering incentives for different companies. But I think I got to give credit to the Webster County and our city council members for doing the job they have done now. Because in the last 5 to 7 years ago, there wasn't much going on. Now look at our city going on today. We got the mall growing, and it wasn't for that money that they give the developers, I don't think we would have the mall being developed as it is today. And the county supervisors, how they get involved with the city. So I got to thank each county supervisor and our city council for what they have done for economic development.
Thank you very much. We have a couple questions related to water treatment and water rates. This states, considering recent improvements to the water treatment facility and taking inflation into consideration, how do you propose to lower current water rates? Greg? Yep.
Well, that I'm not 100% sure about. I know for a fact the water bill is getting way too high. But one way I think we can make something happen to either keep the water bill steady or not let it get any higher is I believe there's something with Manson. Manson wants some of our soft water. And if elected, I think I'd like to be in that process of negotiating what's going to happen and how much water, and hopefully they can help pay for that new treatment center we got out there. So that's what I do.
Thank you very much. Kim?
That's a good question. I remember that on the council, we were told the city did a research on what needed to be done for the city for the water. When it rained, like 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, we'd have to put out pumps and pump out raw sewage onto the street, onto the curbs, to go down to the river because it couldn't handle it. And what happened is the DNR said, this isn't going to happen anymore. You're going to have to change this. And what we found out, we had $80 million worth of work to do. And I would tell you that past councils years ago, I think they knew this problem, but it's not a project everyone can see. So what they did is they just let it go. And we found out if we didn't do anything about this problem, then the EPA would get involved. And there's a city just north of us that they didn't do anything, and they made them do all the work all at once. But as long as we're doing something, then they were going to leave us alone. So that's why we decided to do with that $80 million. In fact, I asked them in that meeting, he says, if we let this go for another 20 years, what would that cost the city? About $240 million, that's what they said. So we wanted to get this done. So what we did the first time is we borrowed $30 million for that $80 million because we had really low interest rates, and I went along with the mayor. I thought that was a great idea. Then we borrowed another $15 million and another $15 million, and we were getting down there. I think we have $30 million left to go, and then then they came up with the RO plant. Again, that was the EPA and the DNR telling us, you have to get that done because you have too much sodium. So when you talk about the water rates, if we don't do anything with that, then you have the federal government. They're going to come in and they're going to fine us really heavily. So this is what we tried to do. And we tried to keep the rates down. I know Terry and I were in one of the meetings, and we said, you can't raise it that high on the individuals. I know other council members felt the same thing. And so we tried to keep it as low as possible. So that's what's going on. Thank you.
Lydia?
So yeah, really, I echo Kim's historical timeline of that, and we really are dealing with an issue that was kind of just kicked down the road for many years. And we have had lots of discussions on how low we can keep it, and it's conscious in our minds. We also pay these bills. We don't just, put these on the people and then walk away from it. I don't know if there's a way, lowering it is probably not in the near future, but maintaining something is something that could definitely be discussed, but lowering it is unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Quinnell?
I don't think there's an answer for lowering it like everyone's mentioned. I remember when I was a little kid that my mom would get the bill and I'd hear her holler like, oh, water bill, $50. Now being a homeowner and seeing the bill, it's constantly going up. That's something that I know is going to continue to happen. I wish there was something that I knew the answer to that could stop it, but I think maintaining the water bill and keeping it where it's at would be a great idea to help people out. Like I said, I know it's going to continue to go high. I pay the bill too every month. I might yell at the kids, turn the washer off, where I'm paying 2 times something, but there's nothing that we're going to do to be able to lower that, I feel.
Thank you very much. Richard?
The water rates is one of my pet subjects. If you all remember, maybe a couple of years ago, the city gives each $20 off our water bill rates for the incentive for the COBRA. And the issue to me is that they give us $20, and a couple months later, they raised our water rates again. And to me, I feel the water rates are too high, especially I'm a senior citizen, and when you're on Social Security, every time you raise that bill, that's more money. It's coming out of our budget. So there's got to be a way. And when I talked to the finance Jeff about how much money we got in there, he said that fund's sufficient. So Well, I don't know why we can't go back and look at our water rates and see if there's some way we can lower these water rates, especially for the senior citizens. Either that or freeze them or do something for them, because it is getting a little out of hand, and somebody does have to look into this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke?
I agree with Richard when it comes to the senior citizens, because in dealing with people that are living on a budget, when you have an $80 or $90 a month water bill and $300 a month taxes, and you get $600 a month, you have no money. So I think if we're going to help people with sidewalks around schools, we should be able to help our citizens with water bills that they can't afford to, and that could be a case-by-case basis too. And I've talked to senior citizens, a couple of them. I'm not going to say I've talked to all of them, but I've talked to a couple of senior citizens, and that is the budget they work on, and it is not a budget that I can't handle. I can handle my water bills, but we should be helping the least of us if we want to be the community that we want to showcase to the rest of the world. We need to be there to help people if they need help, and I think we can be. Also, we provide the water for the ethanol plants, and there's at a certain point, I get the fact that we have jobs that come from the ethanol plants, but at what point in time can the ethanol plants start paying a little bit towards us? We don't have to give everything away. And again, with Manson, like he was saying on the end, that Greg was saying, Manson is going to be another resource that we're giving water to, and they need to pay their fair share. I agree with helping our neighbors when they don't have water, but we need to look out for us too. That's it.
Thank you very much. We have a couple questions related to police. The first one is recruitment and retention issues at the police department are an issue. Do you favor consolidating the sheriff and police departments into one law enforcement agency for the county? I think, Kim, we start with you.
No, I never heard of that before, but I would not be in favor of that.
Okay.
I think the sheriff's department does a really good job. They work on the county level, and the police department in the city works in the city department. So I think combining them would be, I don't think that'd be advantageous,
Okay.
I don't believe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lydia?
Also, no, I would
Quick
say
question,
no.
I guess. Quinnell?
I would not be in favor of that also. It's just not going to work.
Okay. Richard?
I'm not in favor of it either.
Okay.
No, I am not in favor. We consolidated animal control, and that doesn't work very well.
Okay, thank you. The next one's also related to police. We'll start with Lydia. Should the school resource officer program continue, or should the officers be returned to patrol status?
No, I like that program. I think it should continue. I think it's great, and it helps build a relationship with the officers and the kids in the community as well, because that's an important part, the outreach there. So no, I feel like that's important.
Okay. Quinnell?
Working in the schools, this is something that I know is absolutely a positive thing. You see so much negative on the news, and kids hear so much from their parents of it may be good cop, bad cop, and the times we're in. A resource officer responding to a kid in crisis and sitting down with that kid and building a relationship with that kid, I've seen it happen numerous times. Also with me, and I started the Dodger experience, that was what I started it for. It was getting kids back around police officers. I've touched on this a few times. Back when I was growing up, we always played cops and robbers, and everybody wanted to be the cop. Nowadays, you don't hear about too many people wanting to be the cops because of the rap they have. I think APHIS has done a wonderful job with training, with some diversity with our police officers. I think that some of these kids, what I do with the Dodger experience is, if they have something positive in the school, they may sit with an officer and eat lunch with them and ask them questions. And it's going to be a group of kids. Officer Johnson has brought in, she's made baggies for them. She's brought in herself with a bear, a blanket, stuff they can use when they want to feel safe in school. So the school officer being in schools is a very, very, very positive thing, and I'm all for it.
Thank you. Richard?
I'm also in favor of that also, as what's going on now with the schools, of all the shootings that's going on now. And I feel with that officer being in the school does deter some of these people from thinking twice about shooting or anything like that. So yes, it is a very good idea. In fact, I'd like to maybe see a couple of them in there instead of just one, because the way the economy is going on with all these different schools, like just what happened a couple of days ago again. So yes, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really neat that they have officers around the kids, and Officer Presswood at the high school, I think the kids are able to take criminal justice and can learn, and just being around different people always kind of gives you an idea of you don't have to be afraid of this situation or this person. So it's great all the way around for the kids and the police officers, I believe.
Thank you. Greg?
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the more contact that police have with children or with individuals, and they see that they're just people themselves too.
Okay.
And I think that's a great idea, so yes, I'm for it.
Thank you. Have a couple here related to housing again. Owners of rental properties have avoided maintenance issues by selling the property to the renters on a contract basis. Do you favor changing city code to hold the sellers accountable for upkeep of the property if the buyer fails to maintain it? It's kind of a not complicated, a long question, but are you looking at, would you be willing to look at reforming the city code to help make sure rental properties are maintained and if they're sold on contract? Yeah.
I would, because I'd be in favor of making a city code, because some people are desperate to, they're tired of paying $1,500 or $1,200 rent, and they're willing to pay $40,000 because they think they can fix it up. I think that someone does need to come in and say, is this up to code? Is this going to pass? Because maybe some people may not be able to afford to fix it up. It sounds good at the time, but in all actuality, like we've been talking about today, some people are on a budget, and they might budget for something that groceries, gas, the car might break down, and they might say, we were going to redo our floor, and then they might not get around to it. So I think that making sure that it's up to code, and then whatever happens after they sell it is on the homeowner. Okay. But I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. Richard?
I think it would be a good idea, but I also think that the landowners that own these houses should be held responsible for the upkeep of these buildings. I understand that a lot of them do get destroyed from the tenants that they have, but yet as you drive around the city and you look at some of these houses that we've got today, the rental houses, there's got to be something in a code, or get another inspector or somebody out there to help get these, bring the codes up to date or whatever we have to do. But it's something that to bring Fort Dodge more beautiful and we do have to do something about these houses and the landlords and the people that are living in it. So we do need to either update our laws or do something.
Okay.
I think there's enough laws around landlords, and I think that's why most of them sell all their property. That's why we have a shortage. When it comes to contracts, if the kind of contract you're talking about is a little shaky, in my opinion. You're selling it on contract, or a person selling it on contract because they are trying to get away from what the city is requiring them to do. And I know that if you do sell a property like that, the list of items that need to be done have to be approved by the person who buys the property. Now, I've heard people of selling contracts to family members. I think that should be justifiable, because I've had clients that buy houses but want their children to live there, but then that child is considered a renter. So I think that kind of crosses a line too, where if my dad wanted to buy me a house, I'm not really his renter. He just maintains possession of the house. I don't think you need to change the law. I think we have way too many laws when it comes to it already, and I think it just puts people out of business. When it comes to contracts, also, in my opinion, contracts make homeowners out of renters. And there are a lot of renters in this town that do pay $600-700 a month, and if they get a shot at a house, they pay them off and they beautify the house. They give you maybe $5-10 grand to put down, and they are committed to the house. They make the area better. So I don't think you change the rules for the slim amount of people that try to get away with crossing over and, oh, well, let's sell it on contract. No, that's not the reality of it, so.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
Well, I agree with Brooke on that. Landlords do have a lot of laws and restrictions that they have to follow. But then again, there are a few, I would say, slumlords here in town. And I think that needs to be addressed, some of these houses. Some of them are, it makes you wonder how they even pass. But for that, I don't think it should be. I think a contract with somebody should be a contract with that person. The city shouldn't have any involvement with that. And like Brooke said, like, you know, for one family member, I have a sister that rents for me, and it's considered a rental property. She's been there for 4 years, so I have to keep it maintained and whatnot. But most of my properties, pretty much all of them, are maintained well, like as if I were going to live in them. So if you take care of your properties as a landlord, I don't think there's an issue. I mean, I've never really had to sell one on contract because the city was hounding me. I always follow the city rules and get along with the city inspectors, and I think they do a very good job. But other than that.
Okay, thank you. Kim?
Yeah, that's something I've looked into, and Brooke, I understand what you're saying, and you know, for the honest people who actually really want to sell a house on contract, I don't have a problem with that. The problem is we do have some people who have taken advantage of this in Fort Dodge, and they've, oh, I'm selling a house on contract, and the people might live there for 2 years, maybe 3 years. Oh, then they move out. So then they do it again. Oh, I'm selling this house on contract. All they're doing is renting, so that way they don't have to have housing inspections. So what we're really talking about is this one issue, not everything else. Sure. So I would be in favor of that, because if somebody's taking advantage of this and they're not taking, you know, they're not taking care of the house, and the house gets worse and worse because we can't inspect it because they're selling on contract, that's how they're getting around it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but thank
Lydia?
you.
Can I bother you to read the question one more time?
Sure. Do I put it back down?
Sorry. I just want to make sure. I know.
Well, basically, it's about selling
Yeah.
rental properties on contract. And some landlords are abusing that by getting around the various rules are required to have a rental. So like Kim just said, you know, we may need to stiffen up some
And if they-
area of the code, but
Okay.
are you willing to look at that section of the code on related to rental housing?
That, I don't know. That makes me a little iffy here. I'm not totally sure, because I can see Brooke's point and Kim's, because it does happen, but I would hate to punish all because of a few. But if there's issues like on the outside of the house, people could contact TextMyGov and take a picture of what the nuisance is or the issue, and then have it addressed that way too. I mean, there's avenues that could be used, so I'm not so sure how I feel about that just yet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question is to Richard. We've had a couple submitted related to a council meeting attendance. Please identify how many council meetings you have been to this year and the previous year, and if you haven't attended, what made you want to run for city council?
Well, first of all, since 2007, I probably have missed maybe 5, 10 council meetings throughout the years, because I've always been interested in what's going on in Fort Dodge. I always get up, and a lot of times some of the council member and the mayor gets mad at me because there's certain questions that I ask them that I don't agree on what's happening. But that's one thing about going to council meetings, you're able to express your feelings and question what's going on. So I think it's very important to go to these council meetings and learn what's going on. So when you do go around, some people are asking you questions, you do have the right questions for them. And that's why I feel by going to these council meetings, I'm up to date. I know how the government's working. I know how the city council works, because I get involved. I talk to the city manager. I talk to the finance. I talk to our council members, learning what's going on or asking questions. I've heard of rumors, is this true and stuff. So I'm able to get the information from, I think I've got a good rap with all the council members and also the mayor, city manager, everybody, because I do get out and I ask questions. Like I said before, sometimes they get mad at me, but hey, that's the way it goes. But I enjoy going to them, and I will continue going to the council meetings. So I feel that by going to council meetings, that I should be the next council at large, because I know the inside and out of what's going on with the city hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke?
I haven't gone to a city council meeting for a while, but I commend Richard for going. I think he's very knowledgeable, and he does care a lot about Fort Dodge. I don't think going to city council meetings means you care more or less. I do read the Messenger, and I do enjoy getting caught up, and I do feel like I get caught up quite a bit on what's happening in the city through doing that. So, thank you.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Sure. How many council meetings have you attended in the last year or two? And if you haven't attended any, why are you running for city council?
I haven't attended any, and why am I running for city council is high property taxes and the water bill. The property taxes here in Fort Dodge just seem like they just keep climbing and climbing and climbing. I've been in my house at 1633 North 11th Street for 3 years. I put a new roof on. I've done general maintenance inside my home, and my property taxes are went up $1,000 in 3 years. My property taxes right now are $5,584. You divide that by 12, it's $465 per month. That's not including my insurance or my mortgage payment. So the reason I'm running is I'm going to vote no on most things that if it's going to raise our property taxes.
Okay, thank you. Kim?
Okay. Will you actually repeat that question again?
Well, it's about how many council meetings have you attended, and I think you've been to all of them.
Okay, that's it.
And Lydia, same.
Back there a little bit.
Lydia,
I
same
was
for
listening to
you.
I missed some when I
didn't
had
ask
my
that question.
child.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
I'm sorry,
you were
Kim,
done.
go for it.
Go ahead, Kim.
Not great. No. Anyway, no, all the years I've been on city council, I think I missed 4, if I remember right. I know this year I missed 1, but usually I go every time. And I think it's really important to be there. I think it's really important to hear all the issues. And, it's interesting, you go to a city council meeting and you think, oh, I'm going to vote this way. And then you hear somebody comes up with another argument and that does make sense. And then I change my mind because you have to listen to both sides. And that's what I like to do is listen to both sides. Then you have to decide what side you want to be on and how you want to vote. So I'm always open-minded, but I think it's very important to be there every time.
Okay, thank you. Lydia?
I don't know exactly how many I've missed, but I know when I had my youngest,
Yes.
I took some time away
Okay.
from that.
Thank you. Cornell?
I believe in the last couple years I have attended less than 15. I go to them, I follow them. That's what drew me to this is seeing what was going on. I wanted to be a part of it. I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone, going back to school, working, and whatnot. Sitting down with my kids and my family and asking them, are they ready for me not to be at some of their events, being at supper, sitting down with coaches and ADs and stating that I am running for city council. That means I may possibly miss some track meets. Are you guys okay with that? And everybody's on board and they're willing to fill that void for me to be where I need to be at. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question is related to the Afghan issue. Do you support integrating Afghan refugees into our community, and what actions are you willing to take if this occurs?
I'm all for it. What actions? I'm not sure what actions I could do as a city council other than try to help them get affordable housing, or. But other than that, I'd welcome them in to our community.
Kim?
To tell you the truth, that's a shock question. I haven't had time to think about this, so I'd have to think about it and see what
Sure.
we'd have to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I would. And I feel like that kind of goes through churches, maybe. So I would probably let whatever church might be looking into that take that lead. But I feel like Brooke mentioned, we have to help the least of us, and those would be individuals who need help.
Thank you. Cornell?
I would support that because that's what America is built on. People that came to America to make the dream possible and to get away from somewhere they don't feel safe at. So that's a part of American history. And if you want to come to Fort Dodge, I'd make you feel welcome. and do anything I could to help.
Thank you. Richard?
I'm in favor of that too. They need help, and for me, I've been overseas. I know how people live over there. I know what they go through. So coming to America is a big step for them, and just to see their eyes, their smile, looking how beautiful United States is, and even coming to Fort Dodge to see how the people will reach out and help them. And I'm sure the city council will help, the churches will help, and yes, I'm in favor of it.
I think just in dealing with students that come from overseas, I would have to agree with helping them assimilate and come into our community. I would have to know a little bit more about it, like Kim said, too, because I do think that you have to be cautious, and I don't think there's anything wrong with just taking a step back and understanding the entire scope of everything. But yes, I know our community is one that openly accepts everyone and tries to help everyone, but we do have to be cautious, and like Lydia said, if churches are the ones starting off and delegating what happens, then maybe we step in and volunteer our time and our homes or whatever we need to do.
Okay, thank you. This one's next question is related to fireworks. The writer says that in the summer of 2020, I called my Ward 3 council member and the 3 council members at large about the problems with late night fireworks. I only heard back from my Ward 3 councilman or person. What is your, I guess, philosophy on returning calls to your constituents when they have concerns? Starts with Kim. Kim?
Usually I do that. Usually I get back. Sometimes I might miss somebody. Every once in a while I get busy and then I miss it, and you get a phone call and it's on my tape machine, and I completely miss it. But that's one thing I like doing. When people call me, they have problems in the city. Like if the alley's really bad, or I can tell you stories. But that's one of the things I like. I think about 80% of the time I can get these problems solved, and that's one of the things I really enjoy is helping people when they have a problem. I go to their house, I look at what the situation is, I take the time, and I really believe that's what we're here to serve the people. Okay. We're here, to. If I'm elected official, I'm not over you, I'm under you. So my responsibility is you're my boss. So I go to the house and see if I can fix the problem. Usually I do. Usually.
Thank you. Lydia?
I return calls and emails, so I'm kind of racking my brain on this phone call because I usually only get emails or messages, over text message or whatever. So I apologize for not calling back, but I do have a habit of calling back.
Thank you. Quinnell?
If elected, my thoughts about returning calls for issues. I coach 3 sports. The people that call and text and want answers, and immediately, it is nothing out of the realm. That'd be something in my comfort zone that I'd feel real comfortable with.
Okay. Richard?
I feel if you're elected, which I hope I am, that I will return phone calls because I think it's very important. These people took the time to go out and vote you in because you said that you would help them. And like this fireworks issue, it's hard to, you can call in, but it's hard for the policemen. Remember, the police have to see them doing it before they can do anything about it. The only good thing about fireworks is it's a heck of a fine. But yes, I do feel if elected, it's part of your duties. I don't care if it's just a small problem, big problem, it's your responsibility because they elected you in office. And I have no problems with either my council members or anything. If I ever have a problem, I go to them, they help me out. But it is very important, being an elected official, that you help your constituents out.
Thank you. Brooke?
Oh, yes, I would answer calls. Actually, before I did this, I had a call come through and I didn't want to answer it. So I just sent a text, let me know what you need. And I did, it was about a break-in. So I'm glad I sent that. But yes, I always, I might not answer my phone right away. And I don't think you should be expected to answer your phone right away. We all have kids and jobs and things to do. But taking everything seriously. And I like to talk to people, especially when it is a smaller issue or even a big issue that maybe somebody's very heated about and they think, nobody's listening to me. Well, if I can listen to them, I may not be able to fix the pothole, but I can at least listen to them and say, you know what, maybe you're having a bad day some other way and that sort of thing. But from experience, I will say I have contacted city council people and they have returned my call and I wasn't mad about anything. So maybe that was why. but no, they've always, I've contacted a couple and I've felt respected by the council members, so.
Thank you very much. Greg?
Yeah, I'd be there to answer that call. And you know, if anybody knows me, I like to talk. And if you really want to talk and shoot, you know, let me know what's going on with your problems. And if there's something I can do to fix the problem, I'm going to do it as fast as I can. I'm not one of those guys that just puts it off to the side and I'll get to it next week. And then next week comes to 3 weeks and then it never gets taken care of.
Thank you. Okay, I think this question will be the last one before we have closing comments, but start with Lydia. Decisions made at the council table can have an impact on the community for years. What prior life experiences do you have that have prepared you to make these decisions?
That's a good question.
Kind of a
Yeah.
big one, yeah.
Well, I've served now 1 term on council, so I have a really great idea of what it takes, what kind of things we're discussing and looking at. Outside of council, I am on, like I mentioned, boards for the YW Youth Shelter and Jean Giraffe because I care about people and I care about being able to help people, which is a reason why I run for council and I'm running for re-election on council because I feel like that's one of my purposes is to help. So, I think I was babbling, but there you go.
So Quinnell, what gives you the experience to run for city council and how will you bring the value and the experience you have to the city?
Experience that I have running for city council, we're talking about growth. We're talking about making Fort Dodge a better place. I've done that. I've done that in the last 5 years. I may not have been perfect. I may not have been the perfect citizen. I may not have been the perfect father. I may not have been the perfect husband. But one day what I did decide is I am going to do better. I'm going to do better for my community and everyone around me. And at that point, that's when I said I am going to go back to school. Only thing that was stopping me from doing what I believe God set me on this earth for was to help people. And he gave me a plan, and I followed through with it. And that was going to school, getting my AA, working full-time, going back to BV, getting my BA in 3 different subjects, getting a coaching certificate, helping kids, changing kids' lives, modeling what we want. I think I've done that in the most respectable part because I know that for a fact that our future is our kids. Our future is what my actions and everything that I have done. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I will continue to model that actions so that my whole life and everything that I've been through is brought me to this seat presently right now.
Thank you very much. Richard?
Repeat that question.
Sure. Decisions made at the council table can have an impact on the community for years. What prior life experiences do you have that have prepared you to make these decisions?
Well, I think by going to all the council meetings in the past, to learning what some of the problems are and how they're going to hurt certain people like senior citizens or people that are low budgets and things like this, and to make decisions that taking each and every person in their consideration of how it's going to affect them and try to find ways to minimize the cost of their expense, what it's going to cost them. So yes, by going to these meetings, I've learned more and more about how the city operates. And there's a lot of times I disagree with some of the decisions they made, like even Kelly. Kelly and I never got along down there at council meetings sometimes. But it's just that you've got to make these hard decisions sometimes, and sometimes I didn't agree with some of the decisions they made, and sometimes I did agree with them. But that's a difficult decision, but you have to weigh each and everything and how it's going to hurt or how it's going to help, so forth. So, yes, I think I'm well qualified for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Brooke, you want me to repeat the question?
Just for fun, yes.
Okay, that's fine. Decisions made at the council table can have an impact on the community for years. What prior life experiences do you have that have prepared you to make these decisions if elected?
I am really good with money. I am amazing with money. I have owned businesses. I'm 45 years old. I made a goal that I don't share with a lot of people, but I'll just share it with everybody right now. I made a goal before I was 45. I was going to have everything I owned paid off. Everything. Every rental property, every car, everything, and I did that. I'm very good with figuring out where you can cut some fat, and I understand where you need to add money as well. So I've owned businesses. I've had to handle trust accounts through real estate. I've owned 50 units that I did all my own property management on, which was crazy and shouldn't have been done. That's why I don't do it anymore. But money, I think money is your primary thing. The number one thing the city council does is makes and approves a budget, and we need somebody who knows how to do that. Next thing is making sure that everybody here is safe and understanding that we don't want to topple on top. The police end up getting a lot of things thrown at them, and we need to either help hire a couple more, or which does cost money, and either that or not make them do everything, not make them deal with all the mental health cases we have and deal with all kinds of things. So, yep, I'm thinking my experience in business, my experience in news is also a good thing, and being a mom, so I have that understanding too. So,
thank you very much. Greg.
Could you repeat that for me, please?
Sure. Sorry.
No, you're all right.
Decisions made at the council table can have an impact on the community for years. What prior life experiences do you have that have prepared you to make these decisions?
There's really not much I really have other than a small rental business I started up and getting it paid down and paying a lot of those off already at the age of 34. I own 7 rental properties outright. So I know money is a big thing, like Brooke said there. Just trying to figure out what to do with the money, where to put it, and where to go from there.
Okay, thank you. Kim.
Well, Brooke, I had the same goal, except I got a little bit faster. I worked really hard at that, and I got debt-free in 1990.
1990?
Yeah, 1990, and I've been debt-free ever since. And that makes a huge difference.
It is a huge difference.
And yeah, talk to my wife. She says I'm frugal. Am I cheap or am I frugal? Anyway, my experience is I used to be part owner of RMC Products Company and CNS Products Company. Had a lot of people working for me. Had to hire people, fire people. Had to look at the finances, where we spend the money. I had all that. I remember back in the 80s, I was on the CCS board for 10 years. They got in trouble, and they were really in debt. Then they wanted me to become chairman. I thought, great, I don't want to be a captain of a sinking ship. But yeah, yet I followed those principles I really believed in, and within that year, that we were completely debt-free. So I know how to handle money. I know how to work with finances, but I also know how to handle people. But also, I really believe that being on the city council, you have to hear both sides. You really do. And that's really important, because a lot of people have good ideas. And sometimes they come with an idea, like I said before, like I never thought of, and it made a lot of sense. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're ready for our closing comments. We'll have 2 minutes for each candidate. And since we started over there with the opening, we'll start here with Brooke and go across the table with closing comments. So thank you all for participating, and I'll have some closing comments myself at the end.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you to Iowa Central Community College and the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance for hosting this event. And I want to start off by saying I don't think you could make a poor choice. Everybody up here is a good person. Everybody up here wants to help the community and has helped the community in some way or another. And for the most part, I feel like Fort Dodge is on the up. It has been for a while, and I just would love to be a part of that. There are just some small issues that need addressing, and I just would like to bring my take on, I'm very proud to be a Fort Dodger. I came back here in 2004, and I didn't intend on staying, but the longer I was here, the more I was in love with where I am. I could go and move anywhere. My kids are going to be graduating here, but I don't have any intention of doing that. My parents are here, and the best people are here. Going to Casey's in the morning or anywhere, and you talk to people, and they know what you're up to. What are you doing? Oh, I saw that picture of Tate on there, and you can't get that even in Iowa City. You can't get that somewhere else, and that's what I love about this town. And this is a huge election with 6 open spots and really good people going for all of them. A lot of them uncontested, but that's all right. Good people still trying to fill those spots and take us into 2022. So thank you for your time, and I would be very proud if I was one of the 2 candidates you choose on November 2nd to represent you.
Thank you very much. Richard?
I would like to thank community members who have taken their time to attend this meeting and listen to the candidates so they get a better understanding of each candidate's thoughts. As I told you earlier, I feel I'm a knowledgeable candidate since I have attended many council meetings. Through attending these council meetings, I've had the opportunity to meet many of the hardworking city employees. I hope to be able to be a part of the progress the city is achieving in new businesses, safety for the citizens, and recreation. Since I am retired, I have more time to listen to the citizens' views about important issues to them and learn more about the issues before responding to them. Because of my age, I feel I have a lot of experience that younger people haven't had. I've learned from my mistakes, but I've learned to never give up. Also, as a senior citizen, I understand the issues that senior citizens deal with and how impact their lives. If elected, I can add insight when discussing issues that will affect the senior citizens. As you leave this forum, please review in your mind the answers to the questions that were presented tonight. I hope to be a candidate of your choice on the ballot, so I'm asking you your vote November the 2nd. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Richard. Quinnell?
I want to thank everyone in Fort Dodge and for going out and voting and electing me and giving me a chance to prove who I am. Long story short, like I told you, I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. Everything that I've done, everything that's happened has led me to this point. From the day my wife told me she was pregnant, I was on my way to signing a contract to play basketball overseas. Running track at Iowa, had a full ride. That didn't happen for some odd reason, and everything that I have done has kept me in Fort Dodge and kept me on the path that I am going to. So with that being said, if elected, I will continue to show any and everyone it's never too late to achieve your goals and dreams, to do what God set in front of you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Lydia?
I just want to say that I'm really grateful to Jill, her legislative committee, and the college for allowing us to be here tonight. And I appreciate everyone who came and who's watching online and the questions, because it's really important to show up and it's important to ask questions and to hear from us so that you know where we stand on the issues. And I'm hoping that you got some good information tonight and it will help you with your vote. And I would be very grateful for the vote on Election Day, but Brooke is right. Everybody up here is great, but I would be incredibly grateful for you to vote. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the Growth Alliance for putting this on. Also like the community college for letting us use this facility, and I thank you for everyone that showed up and those online watching. And I just want to say that I have always loved this community. I've enjoyed working with the city council and helping people, and my goal was to always get good jobs, bring in good jobs for people in this community. I think that's really important. I also believe really strongly when somebody calls me that I'm there for them and hear what they have, what their complaint is, and try to help them out. And also I always had a deep need of, or a deep desire to helping people that are in need. And that's why the city council, that we started the Iowa Housing Trust Fund, LMI, for low and medium income housing. We've been able to help so far, I believe, like 22 homeowners. And these are people who are handicapped. You know, they can't afford to fix their house, the roof, what have you. And they can't afford to do that. They can't afford to do other things. And so we're there, as long as they meet that criteria, we're there to help them. And I think that's really important. And I just really thank the city council for doing that, helping people. So those three things I really believe in. I also, and I have to tell you, there's a verse that I memorize, and I really believe in it. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourself. Each of you should not only consider your own interests, but the interests of others, and I really believe that. So I'm here to serve you, and I hope that you'd vote for me. Thank you.
Greg?
Thank you. Thank you for everyone that showed up today and people watching online. If I'm elected for Ward 4, some of my main goals would be the taxes. I think the taxes are they're just going to keep going up, up, up. And if elected, I'm going to try to keep them where they're at and not let them go up any higher. I don't know what I can do for that, but that's something I'd like to look into. Also, the water bill. We've talked before about, $85 for a senior citizen that it's just them living there with one person doing one load of laundry a week, taking maybe 2 or 3 showers since they're an elder person that, they don't get dirty very often, and it's $85. I'd like to see something done for the elderly or just the single family houses. And then also, if elected for Ward 4, I'd like to see something done with Expo Pool. Right now, it's just a green space. I'd like to see possibly something like Olson Park did, a splash pad for the kids over there, possibly a couple basketball courts. Because over in Ward 4, I've noticed there really isn't many places for kids to play basketball other than the Lions Park. And about every day around 4 o'clock, I see a bunch of kids there playing basketball. I think if we had a few more basketball courts up in Ward 4 area, I think more kids would be able to have more fun out and play. And just like that splash pad idea, or even since they're across the street, we have that rehabilitation place. I've looked online, and they have a parks for adults. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that go in there as well. But that's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure moderating tonight. And I have to say, it's really refreshing to see have a really good civil discussion. And I honestly believe, too, our country is going to be saved from the ground level up, and you guys are going to play a key role in that. So I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for participating, and please vote November 2nd. Thank you for coming.